You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel. You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
The wheel is turning and you can't slow down. You can't let go and you can't hold on. You can't go back.
Hello and welcome back into my wheelhouse. Today is May 20th. We are in the thick of the conference finals and the NBA playoffs. We had some golf over the weekend. Was it exciting? There wasn't any Tiger. Who's the new champ? Koepka?
Koepka and Dustin Johnson are just such blah personalities.
Not marketable. Not marketable.
They're just not. They got no spice to them at all, so it's kind of hard. Makes it hard. You miss the young players.
That's okay.
But what I was thinking is that last night we had that we had two big games last night. We had that big game on HBO. It was kind of like a game 7, and I thought it paled compared to the Bucks and the Raptors.
You thought the Bucks Raptors
was much better than the Ravens. Much better than the Ravens and the Dragons.
I thought Game of Thrones has gotten a very bad rap. They got a bad rap.
Not last night, I didn't think so.
I think it was fine. Why were you disappointed? The Grizzlies are going to have a strong inclination to select John Morant.
Anyway, I'm not a
lot of insiders are saying it's a shoe and pick
very
already.
cookie cutter
compared
to what they've led us all along. I thought
critics
last week was pretty good.
Analysts saying it was expected. There isn't that big of a line between Morant
I thought
and Barrett.
Dormack came up big.
Clear better player.
That's the Dragon.
Drogon?
Drogon came up big.
That would be crazy if it was maybe
Of course, he had an unbelievable performance in Game 5, I would say. He was all over it, but he's nothing without Danny.
Definitely an MVP.
What I likely see.
Well, MVP was definitely Aria.
Coming.
That's kind of like Kawhi.
And the usurping of
He
Conley.
took out the king.
Hopefully,
I'm sure that show will live on.
malleable Conley is
I thought
still
Danny was like
is
Kyrie.
willing to move forward.
Yeah,
I see him
draw
as
lots of
maybe
Brand
as
was like
we
Jalen
go
Brown.
on.
We got the
influencer
lottery that
for
happened
the first half
over
of
the
the season,
past
and then maybe they
week
ship
that
him
will
off
give us
before the
plenty
trade
of
deadline.
information to
I wouldn't
talk
be
about.
surprised if they moved him in the summer and the
New
offseason.
job hires
Started
that
the
aren't
season
as
with Jaw as the
important.
starter.
We just found
But I
word
wouldn't be
today
surprised at the same
that
time if they
Ryan
started the two of them
Saunders got
together
hired up
and kind of
officially
had
as the official head
the
coach
role
there.
model
So
kind
he
of
was
role for
he
Conley
was
for
the
the
Timberwolves,
first half
right?
of the
Yeah, he
year
was
and then
in
ship him
Timberwolves.
off.
And he's
after.
going to coach who?
Same team. They brought him back.
Okay.
Minnesota.
I think it's
Uh,
going to be a good market.
Beeline hired Bickerstaff as his associate head coach,
Especially if you can
Start
land
the
some
team
picks, kind of
over.
similar to the one Especially that if you can land some more
had
picks.
Ty
I
Lue
think they
in
needed
with
somebody on the bottom
stronger
anyway. So I don't think Conley's defensive
I think
mind.
Bickerstaff
He can still bring in a defensive mind.
Yeah, Bickerstaff is a strong
Yeah, something I was thinking was I think that
we
teams
got
that are in
plenty
the
of
lower
stuff to
half of the
get to.
lottery,
Obviously, the
especially
Bruins
teams
are
that are going to be
deep in the-
having holes
I
in the
might
point
start
guard
watching
position
it
where
now.
formerly they didn't.
All right, so
think
we start off with
Hornets
just a
with
lottery
potentially Kemba Walker
reaction.
leaving.
So obviously
I
it was a
think
pretty
Heat
big
potentially
firework
Dragic
lottery.
I think that
in
both
terms
of those
of
teams
what
are
the
good
odds
candidates
are.
to trade that 12 and 13
It
pick
really
with some
ended
contract
up
and get
being
Landon Conley
complete
back.
opposite from what a lot of
Obviously,
people
we've heard a lot of
projected.
rumors of teams like
5
Indiana
teams
and
dropped
Utah
3
being
spots
linked to
in
Conley
terms of
in
what
the
the
past. I think that
likelihood
those are
were.
teams that we
2
should pay
teams
attention to.
rose 6
And
spots.
I wouldn't be surprised that happens
obviously being the number 1 and 2
regardless.
picks in the
So
New
moving
Orleans
past that, I think that kind of
Memphis
shoehorns
Grizzlies.
in RJ Barrett as the
The
obvious
biggest
selection for
riser
the
in the
Knicks.
entire lottery was the Los
I don't
Angeles
think that
Lakers,
he's a
jumping
perfect
from
fit
11
if
all the way
their,
to 4, so a 7
offseason
spot
and free
jump.
agency dreams come
It
true.
was
with,
chalk on the
Kevin
bottom
Durant
for the
and Kyrie Irving
Celtics,
or whatever the
unfortunately.
second star is, but I do
Sacramento's
think
pick
that he's the
yielding the
clear
14th
next
overall.
best player there.
And
So I
then
think that
Miami
makes
and Charlotte
sense.
getting their pedestrian
After
12
that,
and
like we've
13 as they
discussed
usually
all
do.
along, that's where it gets really murky. Who do you think
Who do
the
you
Lakers,
think that the lottery
if they keep the
shakeup,
pick, if they keep the
obviously
pick,
kind
who do you
of
think the Lakers
the 2
select at the
surprise
fourth overall
teams
selection?
being the Pelicans and the Memphis
Hunter.
Grizzlies
I think
aside,
Hunter.
who do you think
he's
really
still
maybe
an underrated
benefited
player.
or
I think
really
he's starting
struggled
to
with their
get more and
result
more
most?
acclaim. Number one, I thought it was great for the fans. You go into it taking
yeah.
Zion.
So
I'm going to watch it
he's
because
a
Zion. I want to see where it goes. And then it was actually a lot of drama and exciting. And as it's coming down, when they get down to that Final Four, I was sure the Knicks were going to get number one. I just, when you looked at the teams there in the odds, I just like I'm saying, hey, the Knicks got Zion. That's kind of what I was thinking. I think LA got the consolation prize. I think number 4 is not good enough.
I agree
in
with
the
you
top
100%.
three.
I think at this
So,
point, the fourth selection,
New Orleans,
the best
Memphis,
available
and New York,
players
you
are
see how
Culver
that
and Hunter.
plays
Those are
out.
the two best players on the
I think
board.
Zion's
And if
obvious,
a
but
team was,
Barrett and Ja are not
with
obvious
thinking
to
with the
me
mindset
about
that
which
we need
one
to pick the best
should
player
take.
here
I
for
think
our
the Knicks
team,
can be
they would
very
pick one of
happy
those
with.
two.
And
But I
then there's a
don't
lot of
trust the
potential
Lakers'
here for
ability to do
jockeying
that.
for
I
position
think
on
that they're
draft
probably
day
gonna become
before the
enamored
lot with
with someone
potential
with a higher
trades.
upside.
Lots of stuff
I think
going
that they
on.
might become too
that's kind of my
connected
take on
and
it.
biased
I think
by
if you look
someone's
at the tanking
affiliations.
issue.
I think that they are
the
going to
tanking
select
issue.
Cameron Reddish
The only
out of Duke.
thing I would see that's
I
changed
do
is
think
now
that it would be a
you may
reach.
see
I
a
think
team
that
like the
a
Detroit
lot of mocks
Pistons
and
tank
analysts
backwards,
are
right?
exactly where it is because
Yeah, so that's so it's
he's the
changed in
type
that
of player
respect
where
quite a bit.
ramifications
with him as a player
will affect
your
the
respect for him is
people
going to be a
are
lot higher
jumping
than
the gun,
if
really
you
being
are
like,
a
oh my
scout
God, this is
or
the proof that
a head
tanking is
coach
over.
or that what it is.
That's not it
So
at all.
depending on
It's
who
just
you're
the
listening to
segment
talk about Reddish
or base
you're
of
going
the
to get a
teams that
complete
will be
different
taking
bag
is going to be
of
shifted.
examples
We talked
on
about
how
this
his
when we
play
talked
will
about
translate. So
the
I
lottery
personally,
number
I am
probability
higher
shifting
than
was
the
that
consensus
instead
on
of it
Reddish,
shifting
because I
towards
think that
you want
his skill set
it's
on
really
both sides of
important
the
that you
ball
tank and
and his
lose as many
potential
games
to
as
be
possible
a
because of
3
how
and D
strong of
Paul
a difference
George,
having
mold
25%
player
versus having that
it's there. I just
18%
think it's
or whatever it
too
was
inconsistent.
before. Or
His motor isn't
continuing
his
down.
motor is
That was
not
a dramatic
present
difference.
as often.
Now the dramatic difference
It was
is
going
hey,
into
if you
this year,
can
a year
go
later,
from
still
being
sat out that game.
12
he has a ton of red flags, and I think that he has
then you're
affiliations
right in
with
that
clutch
wheelhouse
sports
of being
already.
able to jump up into the
Him
top
and
four,
Garland
and you have
both
just
have affiliations with
not
clutch
that
sports.
far
So I
away,
think
far
Garland,
cry
Reddish,
than the
Culver,
Cleveland
and Hunter
Cavaliers,
are
who
all
have a
players that are
5%
probably
higher
going
than
to be
you
on the
to
Lakers'
jump up
radar
there. So I
at
think you're
4,
absolutely
with
right.
2 of those
We're going to
being
see
the smart
teams
picks,
in the
and then
future
2 of those being
that are
picks
come
that are
trade
probably gonna be
deadline.
motivated
I was thinking
by
that the Orlando
exterior
Magic could have
means.
absolutely been
So
a
we'll
team
get
like
to
that
other
this
things
year.
on there, but I think
If they
LA's
decided to
number
move
one
Vucevic at the
play
deadline
is
instead
to
of
package that
going for a
and
playoff push,
and
instead
straight
of
for
maybe
Anthony Davis and see if that
returning,
works,
maybe hoping
Continuing,
like
the
the Celtics
Cavaliers
could have been a trade partner for them.
leaked out
if
a
they
bunch of
landed
stuff
like
saying that
a
they really, really
middling
wanted
pick
R.J. Barrett
and Terry Rozier or something
I
like
doubt
that.
that they're going to
Supposedly,
be able to get him.
they
So
probably
I
could
think
have
that what
jumped
they're going to
and
do
dropped all the way
is
down to
probably
8,
pick
and then if
whoever
the
they
ball
feel more
slide their
comfortable
way,
with in
the
that-
Orlando
with
Magic
those
could have a
pieces
top 4
between
pick.
Culver and Hunter.
You know what I mean? So
And I
it's going to
personally
be a
select
lot
Culver
more
for this team because I
you're
think
going to
that
see halfway through the
even though
season, there's going to
Sexton
be
had a
big
strong
changes
shooting
in
year and
directions in
offensive
terms of
output
what
in
the
the second
outlook
half of
for
the season.
individual
They still need more
teams
offensive
that are kind of in the
creators, not
morass of the
necessarily for
league.
themselves,
Instead of
but in
teams that are
terms of
really,
being
really
able to
bad,
create a good flow
pushing
offensively.
how
I think
bad they
Culver,
are, I think those
especially
teams are going to be
with his
more
two-way ability, can
motivated
offer that skill set
and
for that team. He
compensated
slides in
properly
pretty
to
perfectly
perform well. We're
alongside.
seeing
I
Atlanta
know it's
last
kinda
year. I
silly
mean,
'cause this team doesn't
this
have
is
a
kind
strong
of
core yet.
a
He
failure in
slides
terms of
well
Atlanta's
with,
draft. They
Chetty
dropped a
Osman
little
and
bit
Larry
lower
Nance and
than
Colin
expected.
Sexton.
But
Adding him
that's
in
just
there,
you
I
playing
think
with
he
the
fits well
fire
with
of
those
the
players. I
lottery. It
understand
could have
that a lot
shifted
of
the
those
complete
players
other
aren't
way
the
for them.
answer
They could have
long-term,
had the number
but he
one
fits
and
well
number
with what
6
they
pick.
have in
And
terms
I
of
think
the young
that
core at this point.
the
think
morale
he's
boost
better
and just
with
kind of the
better
cohesiveness that you
players.
can build
You know,
with
to
a
expect him to
winning
step up
push,
and that'd be a
I think that
backcourt
that's going to
of
be
Sexton
heralded
and
on those bottom
Culver.
teams
That team's
more
not
than it
very
was in
good.
years
No,
past.
and
And the teams
That'll
that
balance out
that's
the coming in
I
the
think
other
they're- I
direction
think
because
they're my
it's
pick for the
still
worst team in the league next year,
to get into the playoffs. It's still got some
As
value.
you
and
round
to
out
that.
the rest of the
One
top
thing
10,
I think that
the
maybe
Suns and the
you
Bulls
need to
are
let
going
this
to be
play
where
out
we
for a
see
couple
2
years,
point
and
guards
you
land.
don't know
I think
whether
that's
this was an
where Garland and
aberration with
Kobe
all
White
that
will go.
movement.
Oh, it's
or
going to
whether
be
it's going to happen every
it's
year.
so random. I mean, you see it. The numbers are so small, so minuscule.
Yeah,
There's an 86
the
there's
chances.
an 86% chance that the Knicks weren't going to get the number 1 pick, and people were freaking out that it didn't happen. And obviously, it was the most likely situation to happen. It's funny when you look at the actual percentages. Chicago, Phoenix, and Cleveland were the 3 biggest kind of disappointments because they dropped 3 spots. But if you looked at the probability for each spot draft selection, whether it was first overall pick, second overall pick, third overall pick, fourth overall pick, the picks that they ended up getting being
like I said, he is absolutely
5, 6, and
deserving of the
7
number 4
in
selection.
Cleveland,
I just
Phoenix,
think that based
and
off of
Chicago.
what teams
Those
are
were the
likely
highest
to do and
probability
not
of any of the
do
picks
above
for those
them.
teams to
Like I
get.
said, they're
So,
gonna
like,
make mistakes.
theoretically,
They're gonna
besides
go
the huge
attach
surprise
some
at
need
top,
instead of
everyone kind of went where they were
talent.
supposed to
I think
go.
that
It just
Hunter is gonna
it was
drop
so
to 8,
surprising
and
that
I
it
think
didn't
that he's
happen
gonna
in
be a
that manner.
fantastic fit there.
I think that
We've
it was
discussed all
good
along
for the
how really good he
NBA.
meshed well with
I
John
think that
Collins and
people
Trae Young. I think
that
that
saying
was
it's
awesome
bad
for
for the
him
NBA because the
and then
smaller
after
market
that,
are going to get these
that's where I
stars
have
that
a
are
real
kind of
drop
probably
off.
going to
So we
be
talk
big
about how there's
box office
a pretty big
ticket
drop off
guys
in
in
the top
Zion
3.
and
I mean,
lesser so
Zion's in a tier
Ja,
of his own, and then it's
and
the Ja
maybe
Barrett
RJ
tier.
Barrett.
And
I'm on the
there's
complete
kinda
opposite side of the
those kinda 5
spectrum.
or 6
I think
players
that's
right there.
exactly
But
what the
then
NBA
after that,
wants. They
you can
want to
pick
bring
from 9 to
a fan
legitimately
base
25.
in a
You can pick
singular
any of
player
those those players,
like a Zion, into
could be
one of those smaller markets to kind of
no, and they could be.
revitalize
You
that
just don't
area.
know. There's going to be.
I
There's
understand
absolutely
people's
from Seiko DeBoy to Brandon Clark to Kevin
frustration
Porter to,
with
Bruno
the
Fernando
Pelicans
to
being
Rui Hachimura.
rewarded another.
There's an all-star somewhere in there. One of those guys is going to be an all-star in the
after
NBA.
kind of failing
It's
to
just
properly
which team's
surround
gonna do
Anthony Davis.
the correct job at cultivating
we can talk
that
later
player,
on and how
eliminating
they're on the
weaknesses
right
that he
path.
has,
It
and being able to
seems
bring the
since
best
they've
out of
hired
him.
David
So I think
Griffin.
that's why. But I think that instead of looking at the players,
For the
I think
teams
that we need to pay
in
attention
the middle
to what
here,
teams
it's going to be
are
really,
drafting
really interesting
where. So
to
we're looking
see
here
how they
you got the
perform
Wizards
and what they do with these
don't
picks.
care who they
I think
pick.
that
I'm picking the Wizards
before
player to be a bust
through
in this draft.
what have
I think
you.
it's going to be a bust. I think
There's
he's going to stink,
so
no
little
matter who they pick.
delineation
Even if it's a
between
player I like,
the
I think
value
they're
that
gonna
you
be
could
bad.
have based off
I
of
mocked them
what
Seiko
your
DeBoy
mindset is just making that selection.
High upside player.
So you were
with
saying
not a
that
lot of, not a lot of
fourth overall pick is the
scouting on him
redheaded stepchild
in comparison
of
to a lot
the
of
top
these
of the
other guys.
draft.
The Wizards
And it
don't
may
even have a
seem
GM
as like a
yet
kind of like a
active,
headline
so I think
grabber
that
for
they
the
can make
Lakers,
a-
like, oh, we got the number one
an
ill-fitted
ill-fitted
decision
probably
there,
gonna use
even
as a
if
strong
he is
trade
deserving
trade
of that
chip,
spot.
whether
It's probably
Target
more value
after
there.
that, I think
Right,
it's
but
really
what's
interesting.
interesting
I think
is
that who the Hawks
if
select
they're
at
the
10,
team that's making
I
that
think
pick,
is a
I'm
really
not confident
interesting
that that's
candidate
going to
to
be a
one of the
better
strongest
player
players
for the
in
Lakers
this
than
draft.
they
I
would have
think
had
the
at
Heat
11
at
if they
13
stayed at
should
11.
be a
You know what I
really
mean?
interesting
The
player to pay
difference in
attention
player
to.
value between
Obviously,
those
I'm very
that
excited for the
range
Boston
is that
Celtics
huge
selection at
morass in
14.
the middle of the draft.
And then moving past
is
that,
so
I think
large
that
and so vast.
the number 19, who
And
the Spurs
just in
get,
terms
I
of
think
that
a really
player pool,
good
it's really
player
gonna hurt
gonna
those
drop to the
players. So,
Spurs at 19.
although
I
it
have
does
the
look like
Spurs getting
certain
Nazir
teams kind
Little
of
at
failed,
19,
and
I
teams
think
like
that would be
Atlanta,
incredible if
who
they got
dropped to
Nazir
8
Little
and
he
10
would fit
rather
in
than their
phenomenally
ability
there.
to have a top
Yeah,
5
well,
pick and
then
have the
they've got a
6th
history
pick.
of being able to make
I
that
think
number
that they're going to
six
have
pick, and the guys that still didn't make the
option
picks.
to select some
I
really good
think it's a
players
good
there.
match for the
that
Celtics.
They're going to
at
get
number 14.
the cream of the crop of what's left.
Brandon Clark.
And
I had him
the
going
teams
higher.
above them make mistakes,
you
and
kinda
the
turned me
teams
on, but
above
I
them
say I
are
watched some of
teams
the
that are
combine,
prone
and
to
when
make
you hear him,
mistakes.
he's
We're
looking
looking
at
at
he's
Magnificent
mature and
Bulls
I like
and
when
the
you're talking
Phoenix
to him.
Suns and the
I think
Cleveland
he's just,
Cavaliers.
played
Those teams that are right
the
above
Marcus
them,
Morris role.
I would not be nervous if I was a
If they
team
don't
like
keep Morris,
the
I
Atlanta Hawks.
think
But
that's a pretty good
I think
match
it's really,
for
really
him.
interesting.
I really like Clark. I had him going
think
at
that
10. I
there's
would love if he was there at 14,
no
but I think that a team
perfect
is
way
going to become
for the
enamored
lottery to be
with him
constructed
enough
and
to
for
kind of snag him earlier on,
it
even
to
though
shake out
he has a
where
lower
every
upside
fan
than a
is
lot of these
happy
other players,
and
but he's going to be a
every,
good. You put him in right away, and he's
organization
going to be able to
feels
contribute.
justified
Who
in
do you think
how
that
the
the
lottery
Celtics
ball
are
shook
going
out
to
or
target?
whatever.
Maybe not
But
only at 14.
I like that
had
they're
them
trying
going
something
for
new.
bowl,
This
but
is
at their
obviously
later
something
picks
that they
at 20 and
continually try to
22.
change.
I
They've
still
tried to
like
change it
him.
across
I still like
time.
Ty
You're
Jerome.
absolutely right that you need to let it play out a
think
couple of
he's
years
potentially
to
one to
decide
take.
whether or not it's
The-
going to be
the Celtics
successful or
are-
not.
we're gonna
Because
avoid
next
it.
year it could
Well,
go
a
chop.
lot of
You
these
know,
teams
it
have
could
just got
be
so
New
much
York
going
1, 2,
on.
3.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
You know,
they
that could
Washington,
happen.
they're going to get rid of Beal.
I thought it was a
Beal.
Beal.
If they trade Beal and get some stuff, any of them going to make the move to get another pick and get up higher. There's so much going on.
I was really impressed with Zion.
I still like Iggy, but when you saw that brand out
He hasn't
there,
done well.
and you
So
saw
he
that
hasn't.
charisma.
Okay.
Yes.
I haven't
There's nothing
watched
like
it.
it.
So you see anything in the games.
He's dropped out of like every
did
mock
not
that I
read
follow.
his
I follow
response
like
and everything
15
you're
mocks where
hearing
he
about
got
the
that
body
overreacted, and he
language.
wasn't in a lot of
I
it to
think that's
begin with,
kind of
but the
a
ones where he wasn't
stretch
the
to
first
start
round, he's
reading his
dipped out.
body
I still
language
like
that he doesn't want New Orleans and that he was
got him
going
going
to
to the Pistons at 15.
I think he's just being respectful
I
and
think
not
he was
saying
being-
that New Orleans not guaranteeing that they're going to pick me. You know, it hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened yet. Hasn't happened yet. He'd never been. He got asked the questions if he'd been Orleans. He said no. And he didn't look upset. He just, I think, if anything, it was kind of more surprised. He knows that he's likely the number one pick, and he doesn't know. He wasn't expecting this to be an option. He's thinking, I'm probably going to go to New York, Cleveland, or Phoenix, and then there was rumors that he was excited about the potential for him to land in a team like Atlanta or something like that. You saw him walk by the numbers, and he tapped Atlanta's thing twice, and people were reading too much into that in the league. But I agree. I think that he's a young kid who probably got excited and a little bit shocked. He probably was a little shocked about what happened. But I mean, you saw his stepfather on the radio the day after the lottery came. If he's not there, maybe Daniel Gafford. They were very excited. And I think that the down towards 24, where the Sixers are selecting,
That's how I read it.
they're going to be going the same. I think it's going to be great. They struggle to have depth at the big size as well. I think that there's going to be a lot of movement. I expect a lot of trades to happen.
Talk more about that. We settle for guys like that wouldn't normally be.
So the NCAA has
hinted at
steel of
forming a
the
committee
draft
so that they could discuss the potential compensation
I
for
think
their
it's
athletes.
DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter
I really think
at
for
4
their-
to the
I
Lakers.
just think he's a steal of draft.
which is
I
often,
would consider taking him at number two.
we can
tied
shift
into
and talk
things
about the
like
Boston Celtics. So
it can be
in the past
autographs
couple,
being sold,
days
it can be
since being
t-shirts,
eliminated
it can
for
be
the
in video
playoffs,
games, which
we've
has been
had
kind of the most
some interesting
popular storyline
storylines.
that's been tied
Most
to it.
notably, Terry Rozier
and it can
doing
be
his
in all types of other
tour,
areas,
car
local
wash of all the
sponsorships with
ESPN
commercials
episodes.
and
So the
stuff
video
like that.
games would have nothing to do with the college at all.
disparaging the Boston Celtics season.
Well,
I don't think
it's
so.
not it's the NCAA, the college entity. That's the video games
standing
would
up for
be
himself.
a
Well,
business
so then putting everyone else down.
right? As
Right.
opposed to T-shirts in the campus store. so to
Yeah,
speak.
each thing is a little bit different. What kind of frustrated me
players
about
during
it
the
was
season?
when I
You know,
actually looked
and
into
really,
it and
he's
did some
still
reading.
not. If there's anybody that's ever been
NCAA and
honest
Emmer-
about
and
their
those
situation,
guys were
and is
staying
telling
so-
it as it
so,
is, directly, and without
locked
getting
in
anybody, without
on the
getting
fact
himself
that
in trouble.
they
That's what I
weren't
see
gonna do
happening here. I
anything
think
that could
everything
be
he's saying,
considered
he's
paying
actually
players.
shedding
And
light
they were so
on
focused
some of the
on not
things that went
bending
wrong
the
with the
rules
Celtics.
to
I
make
thought
it look like they were
best
paying players.
point
He's
was
so stringent on using the word compensate and not pay, and that it's probably going to be
when we went into training camp, we were all
formatted in a way
this
that
was
they're
all
getting
going to work,
rewarded
and we were all
with,
talking, we were all
some type
big
of
time on this,
credit
and
or
then we worked, and we
free
worked real
clothing
hard,
or
and we
something,
created
and that kind of
second
frustrated
team
me.
that
I
bench would
do like
attitude.
that it's
But
just
what
another
happened
step
is
in the
that
right
he said,
direction.
don't blame
I think
anybody.
that it is
When it
something
actually
exciting.
came
I do
game
think
time,
that
it
probably
was always
the biggest
a
ripple
mix
effect
of the
will
first
be
team and the
video
second
games.
team,
That
and
was a
kept
huge
that
market.
team from
NCAA
ever
football.
gelling. The team that was, he said, we were
was
good
one
in
of the
practice,
largest video game
but when we get on
entities,
the court,
in
now
the
I'm playing
early
with Kyrie. I wasn't
2000s.
playing with Kyrie in
Those
practice.
were really good
you know,
sellers
and that
across
really,
all gaming
so they left
systems,
frontline
and they did
players
really
in there
good
to
for
play with the
player
second
and
team, and that
university
never
brands.
gelled. It was different than what they were preparing in practice.
It was clear that
somewhat
there was in the
frustrated,
beginning of the season.
on
Everyone
clear
was
block
this high level
that
of motivation.
management in the NCAA
And Brad,
has,
I think,
with
to a
their
degree,
unwillingness to
and
take a
maybe
step
it was
forward
a failure on his
towards
part,
what everyone kind of
gave
is like
the players
universally
freedom
agreed upon
to
should be
figure
happening. You know what I mean?
the rest out to
So
a degree,
it's
and kind of saying
it's
okay,
good that it's
I'm gonna
happening,
put you in
and I think
situations
that it
that
could
I
lead
think
to
are
more
going to be
things, and it
successful,
could be a
and I
domino
need
and a
you
slow
to
fall
carry out steps
as we
8,
go
9, and 10
forward
in the process.
I just
And-
don't know
and
how
what
much
we're
it
hearing from
means.
Terry Rozier is that
The committee
he
really
even
liked
was
what was
supposed to
happening
meet
in
until
steps
October,
1 through 7
so,
and
like,
didn't want
it's gonna be a
steps
slow
7,
process
8,
no matter
9,
what.
10 to happen. So
Well
I
said.
just don't really know what to
it's
expect
very
from it.
interesting
The
in
problem
retrospect,
remains, the
because
trial
you
is
can say
just set
several
out.
things
There'll
when
be
you hear
guys
something
going
like
to
that. You
jail
can
and
say,
stuff, but
well,
when you
Terry, that's
actually
on you.
hear
You need to figure
the
this out.
conversations
And then
that
on the
were
flip
made
side, you can
between
say, well,
coaches and
Terry's kind
agents
of
and
right,
sneakers,
and maybe
the money
that
is so big
once
for all
the
these
permutations
guys,
clearly weren't working, maybe
regardless
Brad should have had a quicker trigger and
video
trying to switch
games
it out.
or whatever
And
it
it's
is.
such a delicate
That's your
and
problem.
unusual
So
balance
the
puzzle.
NCAA is
Yes, it
thinking
was a
that
huge
they're
puzzle because of the
going
issues
to
with
be
Gordon Hayward,
managing
because
that
of the
situation, that
dynamics
now
of
the
the young
players are going to feel
budding
like
stars
they're compensated,
being
they
put
don't
back
have
under
to.
the
They
ground.
don't trade Rozier because you
going
need
in.
him as a security, as your backup.
Kyrie
Kyrie with
been
that
injured,
at
so you
all,
don't
and I'm
trade
not
him.
sure
So a lot
how
of
you deal
people
with
say,
that.
why don't we
But
get rid
that's
of
the
him?
problem.
Of
Hindsight,
course.
maybe at the
But
trade
there
deadline,
are
we should have
in
done
hindsight,
something.
but
But
at the trade
back
deadline,
there, we
what
needed
is
that
actually
body
going
on
on.
the
It's absolutely,
team.
it's absolutely right.
Just something that's
So
completely
moving
different.
forward,
That's going to be
as
light
the
and
offseason
feathery.
draws
That'll
draws
probably
closer and closer,
take some heat
I
off
think
of
it's
the actual
clear
problems for
Terry,
short term.
if nothing changes,
I think that Terry's
it's
stance
exciting
is he
if
wants
you're
out.
a video
But
game player.
if there are
I think
changes,
that's-
Terry
that's
would
what the
absolutely
takeaway.
love
I
to
don't think
come
it's
back.
that
He
huge.
said that he loves
It is something that
Boston.
we should just pay
And
attention
more
to.
things that comes out about his
And we know
stance
Gordon's a
that
video
the
game
team
player.
gets along
mock
great.
draft a little bit.
They just
Start
don't
talking about who,
get
where
along
we
on
think
the
good
court
landing
great.
spots
So
are
I
for the
think that was
players
something
now that we
interesting
know
to pay
how
attention
the
to.
lottery
There wasn't
shakes out,
follow up
where
on that.
teams
I mean,
stand in terms
they
of
get along well
their
with
draft
Kyrie,
selections.
but he's hard to play
I
with.
think
Right,
that
exactly.
the number one
That's
selection is very
exactly
obvious.
it.
We've
That's
got
a fact.
Zion
Off the court,
Williamson,
they're
New Orleans
friends.
Pelicans.
And there's other teams out there that are looking at
Number
Kyrie
two, we've
different
heard
now than they looked
already.
at him before.
They have a camaraderie.
The Grizzlies are going to have a strong inclination to select Ja Morant.
Off the
A
hardwood.
lot of insiders
that
are saying it's a shoe-in pick
it's
already.
not
They're saying
there.
lock in
It's
Ja
not
Morant.
present,
I
and there's
understand
a clear
a lot of
disparity
pundits and
between
critics
the relationships
and analysts saying that
without
the
shoes
shoes
being
being tied
on the
on the
court
between
and
Morant and
Barrett
Barrett. Morant
and
isn't
on
the
the court
clear
when the
better
ball's
player.
bounced.
So I
It
think that's really
crazy for
interesting.
the
I think
Grizzlies
that
to pick
obviously
Barrett.
there's
It just
probably going to
seems
be
that
some
the
level
Grizzlies
of
are leaning
large
towards
shakeup
the
path
path
of Morant.
What
I
we've
think
heard
Morant's
from
gonna be a great
Terry
fit with
kind of
JJJ
funneling that
there. I
towards
think
what
the two of
your
them will
mindset
pair well.
already was going into
Would I
this
likely
offseason.
see
A lot of the
with
speculation
the
on Kyrie
coming
Irving
of
how,
Morant and the usurping
there
of
could be a
Conley
potential window
is
to him
hopefully
returning to LeBron's
depending
side
on
in
how
LA,
malleable
how
Conley
that
is to the
he's gonna be
situation and
very,
willing
very
to
strong.
move
We have Stephen A.
forward.
Smith saying
I
that
see
his
him
family
as
member
maybe a
says if
veteran
Kevin Durant goes to the Knicks, you can shoe in Kyrie going to the
influencer
Knicks
for the
with
first half of the season, and then maybe they
a
ship
lot
him
of
off
Boston
before the trade
fans,
deadline.
I wouldn't be surprised if they moved
harshly
him saying
in the summer and the
Kyrie
offseason
gone
immediately.
started the season with Ja as the starter.
How do you see?
But I wouldn't be surprised at the same time if they
one
started the two of them
the
together and kind of
offseason
had
playing out
the role model
compared
kind
to
of role
the
for
two.
Conley for the first
How would
half
you
of the
prefer
year
it
and then
to
ship him off
play out?
afterwards.
Well, I think it would depend on the market we talked about last week. It's the same way.
I think it's going to be a good market.
If you go in Kyrie's direction, and he's 31 years old, wait, get what you can now.
Especially if you can
Start
land
the
some
team
picks.
over,
Especially if you can
and
land some
start
picks.
fresh with what with the
down the
guys
bottom
that
anyway.
I think are plugged into Kyrie now. Marcus Morris,
He had a good year this year.
Marcus
He
Smart,
had
Al
21
Horford,
games.
Gordon
Something I
Hayward.
was thinking was I think
Those
that
guys are
teams that are
plugged
in the
in.
lower
They'll
half
play
of the
well
lottery,
together. The other
especially
guys,
teams
they
that are
didn't
going to be
mix. And I
having
know
holes
Brown
in the
might
point
be an
guard position
exception
where
to that.
formerly they
He
didn't.
came along
Think
really well.
Hornets
Maybe he's
with
okay,
potentially
but
Kemba
Walker
certainly
leaving.
I think Tatum and
Heat
Rozier are
with
going to go.
potentially
The
Goran
other
Dragic
way
leaving.
is,
I think
and
that
I
both
would
of those
prefer
teams are
as
good candidates to trade
long-time
that 12 and
Celtic
13 pick
diehard,
with
I
some
want to see a
contract and
return
land
to
Conley back.
the pride of the
Obviously, we've heard a
Celtics
lot
and
of
watching
rumors
a
of
team
teams
that I
like
feel like
Indiana
watching.
and Utah
I would
being
prefer
linked
that
to Conley in
Kyrie
the past.
goes
I think
because
that
I
those
didn't
are
like
teams that we
that
should pay
play.
attention to.
And we'll talk
And
more
I wouldn't
about
be
other teams.
surprised that
I'm seeing the
happens,
same thing in Golden
regardless.
State right now. I
So
love
moving
how
past
Golden
that, I
State's
think that
playing
kind
right
of
now.
shoehorns in
I think
R.J.
it's
Barrett as the
beautiful
obvious selection for
basketball,
the
and
Knicks.
that's without KD.
I don't think that
Your
he's a perfect
identity
fit
is
to
tied
their
team's not bad without Kyrie.
off-season and free
And build
agency
from
dreams
there.
come
Go
true
out and
with
find other
Kevin
guys
Durant and
and
Kyrie
build
Irving
your
or
team.
whatever
I'd
the
be
second
happy
star
with
is.
that.
But I do think that he's definitely tied to the behavior of the that makes sense. And we saw that after that, like we've discussed all along. That's where it gets really murky. Who do you think the Lakers, if they keep the pick, who do you think the Lakers' two options? And I hear you 100%.
And I
Hunter.
think a big
I think he's still an underrated player. I think he's starting to get more and more acclaim.
How Gordon Hayward looks right now.
He's the real deal.
And
I
in the
think
next,
he is.
no, he's great.
And so I think he's a lock.
So,
I don't like the Lakers
based on
fit for him
whether
at
they're
all,
doing workouts,
unless
I don't know whether they're going to
we'll
have
get to other
any
things
types,
there
they
that
won't
I
have
think can
practices,
happen. I
but
would
what
much
you're
prefer
hearing,
that.
I think
Atlanta really
we're
wants him.
hearing,
Yes.
it's so
I
unusual
don't know
because
whether they
all
can
year long we were hearing that he was explosive and he was
make a
dominating
play for him in
practices,
any way.
and it just didn't show up
That's
in
his
games.
fit.
So
I
this
don't
is
like the
obviously
fit in
something
LA,
that's going
but
to be
I
very,
think
very
he's
hard to draw
clearly the
from
number
and get
4.
concrete
I
information
think it's
out
going to
of.
be
But
according to what
if
teams
there is
need.
some
I
type
agree
of
with you 100%.
inclination
I think
towards
at this
Gordon
point, the fourth
returning
selection,
to
the best available
some
players
level
are
that
Culver
he
and
showed
Hunter.
at the end
Those
of
are
the
the two
regular
best players on the
season.
board.
He showed in the
And
beginning
if
of the
a
Indiana
team was,
series. We get some inclination that
thinking
Matt
with the
Gordon is
mindset
more
that we need to
likely
pick
to
the
be
best player
returning.
here for
I
our
think
team,
that
they would
means
pick
that
one of
they're
those
going to be
two.
more
But I
likely to
don't
lean
trust the
the Kyrie
Lakers'
path and more
ability
likely
to
to
do
be
that. I
leaning
think that they're
towards
probably going to
shipping
become
off the young
enamored
guys
with
in
someone
exchange
with a
for,
higher
if it's not
upside.
Anthony
And I
Davis,
think
then
that
maybe
they
it
might
would be Bradley
become
Beal. And I think
too
that
connected
we're
and
going
biased by
that
someone's
direction
affiliations.
isn't as
So I think that
bleak
they are going
and
to
isn't
select
as
Cameron Reddish
dismal if
out
we
of
have
Duke.
Gordon
What I'm
Hayward there.
saying is
I do think that would be a reach. I think
Kyrie,
that a
if
lot
we're
of
going the
mocks,
Kyrie path,
analysts
and the
are
Kyrie
having him
path is
dropping.
also the Anthony Davis path.
He's the type of player
And the
where
Anthony Davis
if you're on the
pass,
court with him as a player, your
leads
respect for
into
him is
us
going to be a lot
losing
higher
all of our young
than
assets
if you
and all of our
are a
draft
scout
picks.
Really,
or
That's
a head coach or
and
what it
picks.
is. So
Well,
depending on who
quantitative.
you're listening
Yeah,
to
but
talk
that's
about Reddish,
is that not
you're going to get a
scary
complete different
if
bag
Gordon Hayward is
of
not
examples
a
on
Gordon
how
Hayward that
his
is
play
before?
will translate.
I hear you.
So I personally, I am higher
I'm,
than the
committed to
consensus
Gordon
on
Hayward.
Reddish.
If Gordon's
I think
back,
that-
that's
but I
exciting.
think
Like,
it's
I'm in on that.
both
I'm
sides
in
of
on
the
that. If
ball.
What I'm
Gordon is
hitting, I
back,
believe,
to be
I think
3-and-D
Gordon
Paul
Hayward
George
is a
mold
stand-up
player.
guy. I like
It's
when I
there.
hear him.
I just think it's too inconsistent.
When I
His
saw
motor
when
isn't
Kyrie
his
flipped-
motor
when
is not
Kyrie
present
flipped out
as
still
often as it
bounce
needs to be.
by a year later, it was going right at Gordon Hayward.
Right,
Gordon
exactly.
Hayward
So
sat out that game
he has
against
he
the
has a
Boys.
ton of
Never
red
even-
flags,
you didn't see
and
him
I think
ruffle.
that
What I'm hearing
he
from Hayward,
has
and I think is absolutely
affiliations
real,
with
is
Clutch
that he
Sports
is
already.
totally committed.
Him and
that
Garland
he right
both
now
have
is
affiliations with
he's
Clutch
got an
Sports.
offseason right
So
now
I think
that isn't
Garland,
like last
Reddish,
year's
Culver,
offseason.
and
He's got no
Hunter are all
setbacks
players
here
that are
going
probably
forward. He
going to
doesn't
be on
have
the
to
Lakers'
wait.
radar
He's
at
already
4, with two of those
preparing for
being a
next
smart
year.
pick.
And there's
then
only
two
going to
good
be a
picks.
better
They're
Gordon
probably gonna
Hayward
be
next year.
motivated
How good that
by
is, I don't know,
exterior
but it's
means.
good enough for
So we'll
me
get to
that
other
he's going to be
things
taking a
on there,
step
but I think
forward. I
LA is
guarantee you that he's going to take a step forward.
I am aligning with
Moving
you 100%.
Moving,
I'm
absolutely.
hearing similar things, and that's
That's
why I
great
do
for
think it
Anthony
is
Davis
more
and see if
likely
that works.
that
See
they
if that
lead
improves
to a
him.
path. Continuing,
ends
the
up
Cavaliers
them leaning
leading
towards
out a
Kyrie.
bunch of stuff
Kyrie's
saying
pop-
that they
I think
really wanted
Kyrie's
RJ
going to
Barrett.
come back, not
I
because
doubt that
I
they're
have
going to be able to get him.
some,
So I think that
biased,
what they're going to do
belief
is
that he
probably
wants
pick
to be here
whoever
most.
they feel
I
more
just think that
comfortable with
he
in that
is
with
going
those
to have
pieces
the
between
inclination
Culver
that
and Hunter.
the Celtics are the
And I
best place
personally
for him,
selected Culver
not
for
only
this team
monetarily,
because
even
I
though
think
he
that
probably
isn't motivated by
even
money.
though Sexton had a strong shooting
not
year
only by
and
winning
offensive output in the second
stakes,
half of the
even though
season,
he clearly
they still
isn't
need more
motivated by
offensive
winning either,
creators,
by him leaving
not necessarily
LeBron's
for
side in
themselves,
Cleveland.
but in terms of being able to create a good flow offensively. I think Culver,
LeBron was
especially
already
with
gone.
his
That's
two-way
that's
ability,
why he
can
left.
offer that
I know what
skill
you
set
mean, but in
for
terms
that
of like
team.
like
Slides in
if you're most
perfectly
dedicated to
alongside.
winning, I know it's kind of
He-
silly
he
because
would have
he
he would have stayed in Cleveland.
yet.
They had
He
the higher
slides
chance
in
of
well
winning
with
than
Chetty
the
Osman
Boston
and Larry
Celtics
Nance
did
and
last
Colin
season.
Sexton.
I
Adding him in there,
I like
I think he
Marcus
fits
Morris
well
a
with
lot.
those
I
players.
like
I
him better
understand that a
now
lot of
than
those
I
players
did
aren't the
before.
answer long term,
I
but he
think
fits
maybe
well
you
with
saw
what they
some things
have
that were
in
pretty
terms
good
of the young
there for
core
him.
at this
Yeah,
point.
I mean, he's
I
hot
like
and
him
cold.
as a teammate. I like him as a worker. I like him what he brings. He can play off the bench. He can play as a starter.
him to
How
step
much
up
is
and
he
be
going
a
to cost?
backcourt
I think he's going to
Sexton
cost
and
14 to
Culver.
16
That
million
team's not
dollars a
very
year.
strong.
No, it's a bad team.
That's really boring.
So,
Yeah,
that's
it's
where
good.
you are.
I think they're my pick for the worst team in the league
You
next year.
know, at
Absolutely.
10, 12, you got him.
As you round out the
14,
rest of the
16,
top
that's a tough
10,
call.
I think that the Suns and the Bulls are going to be where we see 2 point guards land. I think that's where Garland
Terry
and Kobe
is a
White will
restricted
go.
free agent.
Either one
What
or the
number
other.
would you
flop.
be
It depends
comfortable
on
if
who
we
is
did
higher
go
on
the
what.
route
Kobe
where
has a higher
Kyrie
defensive upside.
decides to leave?
Darius
Hey,
Garland has a higher offensive creation upside. Obviously, there's more question marks with Garland because of his injury history, from the Orlando Magic for very small sample size of games overall. Are you going to match that? The Suns will probably lead. What's your number for Terry Rozier? Higher end.
I don't think you can mess with Marcus Smart's salary.
Lottery ticket with Darius Garland.
Yeah, I don't think you can pay Kyrie. I mean, you play Rozier more than you play Marcus Smart.
That said, 13 is getting lucky.
13 years old.
The Atlanta Hawks, I have DeAndre Hunter dropping to them.
Unless he's going to settle for
very pleased with that.
no more
than why you have him at 4. Like I said, he's absolutely. How many of our first round picks do we select? I just think that based on first round teams are likely to do and to not do above them. We're trading all 3. Like I said, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to go attached to need instead of
there's nothing.
All right, let's start talking about the New Orleans Pelicans. Obviously, with I think that he's going to be a fantastic Zion Williamson. We've discussed all along how he would really mesh well with John Collins and Trae Young. I think that would be awesome. They got David Griffin in as a very accomplished front office executive. That's where I have his good luck tie to the. So we talk about how there's a lottery. Who did he drop off? Yeah, he got the Zion's in a tier of his own.
He was there when
LeBron
was
Ja Barrett tier. No, not when it was LeBron drafted. Those
kind of 5 or 6 players right there. But then after that, you can pick from 9 to getting the number 25 is the exciting pick, not any of those players to go anywhere. So
and they could be as good as numbers 4 through.
No, and they could be. You just don't know. There's going to be. There is absolutely from Seiko DeBoya to Brandon Clark to Kevin Porter to Bruno Fernando to Rui Hachimura. There's an all-star somewhere in there. One of those guys is going to be an all-star in the NBA. It's just which team is going to do the correct job at cultivating that player, eliminating the weaknesses that he has, and being able to bring the best out of him. So I think that's why hires instead of looking at the players, I think that we need to pay attention to what teams are drafting where. Yeah, so we're looking here. The Wizards. I don't care who they pick. I'm picking the Wizards player to be a bust.
I think he's a real good choice.
I think it's going to be a bust. I think he's going to stink. No matter who they pick, even if it's a player I like, I think they're going to be bad.
From Alaska.
I mocked them Seiko DeBoya.
He played a lot in Europe.
Not a lot of
only a little bit in the NBA.
He's always been in comparison to a lot of these other guys. The Wizards don't even have a GM yet active, so I think that they could make an ill-fitted decision there, even if he is deserving of that spot. And then after that, I think it's really interesting. I think that who the Hawks select at 10, I think is a really interesting candidate to be one of the strongest players in this draft for this Pelicans franchise. At 13 and is going to be a really interesting player to pay attention to. Obviously, I'm very excited for the Boston Celtics selection at 14. Obviously, they have Zion. And then moving past that, I think that Drew Holiday for the number 19, who the Spurs get, I think doesn't take his good player is going to drop to the Spurs at 19. I have the Spurs getting Nasir Little at 19. And I think that would be incredible if they got Nasir Little, and he would fit in phenomenally there.
Yeah,
for a whole
they've got a history of being able to make that 19th pick, and the guys are still there to make the picks.
Pieces. I think we can bleed this into a discussion about what Anthony Davis, the best packages for Anthony Davis have. Brandon Clark, I had him going higher. That's what makes this Pelicans future so
I watched some of the combine, and when you hear him, he's
not only is this
mature and
I like out of nowhere a coherent and strong front office. Now they're starting to reflect it into their operations in terms of their what their outlook. I really like Clark. I had him going at 10. I would love if he was there at 14. But I think that a team is going to become enamored with him enough to kind of snag him earlier on, even though he has a lower upside than a lot of these other players. But he's going to be a good. You put him in right away, and he's going to be able to contribute. An excitable franchise. I think that this is going to target maybe not only at 14. I had them going for past teams next season, at the later picks at 20 and 22. There's probably there's 4 teams I see that are going to be the leading. Yeah, for leading in terms of battling, in terms of bidding up one another for who it is. And yes, of course, there could be
trade Beal and get some stuff. Any of them going to make the move to get another
to OKC's Paul George that pops out of nowhere in this situation.
I still like
kind of doubt that.
I don't know how he's testing at the combine.
The Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, and then the Clippers.
I haven't watched it. You can't
every single one of these teams has he's dropped out of and every mock that I follow, I follow like 15 mocks. What the offers will be, and he wasn't in a lot of them to begin with. But the ones where he was in the first round, I think that I would rank them.
I think
probably I'm going to the Pistons at 15, fourth, not because they have the worst offer in terms of assets, but I think that they're the least likely to make the trade.
The Kentucky guys
because of the history in the past Hero going to the Pacers, them trying to derail the Pelicans. There's going to be a lot of teams drafting. I think that Dale Benson was really based off and pretty much that offended being filled, how that negotiation, them being willing to put resources into that player. We've heard that recent days are going to have a higher likelihood of having just a successful role player at a lot of these spots. But she said that with teams like the Nets, like they were one of the worst defensive big men teams in the league, and we saw that really bear out in the playoffs. I feel like I trust that, and obviously, an anomaly, but Joel Embiid really abused them. You can't say this is 100% true. We're not trading Anthony Davis to the Lakers, because then that takes going after a player like a trade Bruno Fernando at 17. But if he's not there, maybe a Daniel Gafford. And I have them the downside. I just don't think that the Sixers are selecting. I think they're going to be going the same exact route. Lakers, they struggle. What's the Lakers' best package?
I think that plays right into what you're saying, where there's teams one caveat, and it's a major caveat to settle. If I was New Orleans, I'd make that deal tomorrow, and I would trade for Ball.
Who's your steal of the
that I want to get started? I want players. I'm looking to develop and know what my team is going forward. The caveat is
DeAndre Hunter at 4 to the Lakers.
I just think he's a steal draft. So I would consider taking a chance with that. I would prefer to go somewhere else.
So
it's too bad that's the situation. But Ingram's damaged goods at this point, and Lonzo Ball is injury prone.
We've had some interesting storylines. Most notably, Terry
Rozier doing his media tour, a car wash of all the ESPN episodes.
I would do that except for that. So I'm not doing it.
Yeah, the Boston Celtics. I agree with you 100%. I think that there's a lot of nerves around specifically Brandon Ingram, but less or so. But still, standing up for himself, as you say. So then putting everyone down of them in comparison to the other three teams that in this negotiation, they would have to do more gymnastics in terms of pairing salaries to make it work.
And really, he's still not.
Incoming
if there's
salary
anybody that's
to
ever
match
been
that deal.
honest about this
the
situation,
Lakers have LeBron on contract,
telling it
and then they have
as it
those four
is,
young guys,
directly,
and that's legitimate.
and
without
without getting anybody, without getting himself in trouble. That's what I see happening.
They would
I think
basically
everything
need
he's
to.
saying, he's actually shedding light on some of the things that went wrong with the Celtics.
I still don't think it would be enough to match the. He's helping affirm salary
was
there.
that
So I don't know if they can trade.
I think this is new.
With some type of
what he said is that when we went into training camp, we
he
were all
would get
gung-ho.
re-signed
This was
in
all going to
the
work,
Pelicans
and
right
we were all
away,
talking.
and
We were
I
all
think that they
big
would have
time
to
on
do-
this.
not
And then
only
we
is it
worked, and we worked real
unlikely to
hard.
happen
We
because
created
of
that
the background,
second
because
team,
of injury
that bench
concerns,
with
but I also
attitude.
think it's unlikely
But
to
what
happen for
happened
cap
is that
reasons.
he
I
said,
really
don't
don't think
blame
that
anybody.
anybody
When it actually came
Right, I don't
game
think that's
time,
enough.
there was always a mix of the
So then
first team and the
moving
second
forward,
team,
I think
and that kept that
the
team from ever
number
gelling. The team that was,
three
he said, we were
offer
good
is
in
paired
practice,
with a
but
number
when we
two
get on the
offer.
court,
I think
now
that
I'm
both
playing with
the
Kyrie. I
Clippers
wasn't
and the
playing with
Knicks
Kyrie in
have the
practice.
second and
You know,
third best
and
deal.
that really,
I think that
so they
the
left
Knicks is probably a
frontline
little bit
players in there to play with the
because
second team,
of their
and that
ability
never
to include
gelled.
three.
It was
Right.
different than what they were preparing
It was
in
clear that there
say
was
best
in
friend
the
of
beginning of the
Zion
season,
Williamson. I think that's
everyone
probably
was
Zion
this
would
high
like
level of
the New Orleans
motivation.
Pelicans to lean
And
towards.
Brad,
And then they could get the complete
maybe
cuckoo platter of all their young players. They could have Ntilikina, who's at a garbage price, the players freedom relevant player in the deal. They could get Dennis Smith out to a degree, and might as well. Get Kevin Knox, who had a miserable rookie season, I think are going to be successful. And of course, Mitchell Robinson is carry out the most alluring prospect 8, 9, and 10 in the process. And then Trier, I mean, from Terry Rozier is that he really liked what was happening in 5 of those guys. They're all around $4 million. Step 7, 8, 9, 10 to happen. So 5 I think it was very interesting, and it wouldn't be a problem for the Pelicans because you can say several things when you hear something like that. You can say, well, Terry, that's on you. You need to figure this out. And then not only can they give them the number 3 Terry's kind of right, and maybe they can ship over one of those Dallas permutations clearly weren't working. Maybe Brad should have had a quicker trigger and kind of switch it out. And it's such a delicate and unusual balance because there's huge more potential issues with Gordon Hayward because of the dynamics. There's more assets to be had. Budding stars being put back on the assets.
You don't trade Rozier because you
have.
needed him
I think
as
that Barrett
security
probably
as your backup. Kyrie had been injured, so you don't trade him. So a lot of people say, why don't we get rid of him? In hindsight, maybe at the trade deadline we should have got something.
But at the trade deadline,
there we needed that body.
It's absolutely right.
I think he's
so
good.
moving
I think he's got a
forward,
real good
as the
potential
offseason draws closer and closer, I think
he would be
clear. Terry, if nothing changes, Barrett's stance is he wants out.
Okay, I mean, other than
but if nothing changes, Terry would absolutely love to come back.
Barrett
He
hasn't
said
ever
that he
played a
loves
game in
Boston.
the NBA, but
And
I'm
more
talking
things
about
that comes
players
out
that are
about
there.
his statements
Maybe
are
Smith Jr.
that the team
I
gets
mean,
along
Trier would
great.
be my third.
They just don't
I don't know whether I
get
want
along on
Knox.
the
I
court.
didn't like
Knox was
really
terrible. So I think that was something interesting to pay attention to. There wasn't
to follow up on that.
Well, think about it. The mindset there is that we get
hard to
Barrett.
play with.
We're going to really that's exactly it.
That's
off the court. They're friends.
And there's other teams out there that are looking at Kyrie different now than they looked at him with the
Pelicans. They have a camaraderie, and then you're saying we're getting the same way it exists on all these formerly highly recruited and highly touted. It's not there. Draft assets. It's not present, and there's a clear disparity between the relationships.
Anthony Davis for 7
guys, and you're going to get tied on the court and jerseys on.
Okay, it's not the best package. It's not the best package.
I think that's really interesting. I think that obviously there's probably going to be some level. So would you rather trade? So now we can shift to the Clippers Terry, which the Clippers kind of funneling that towards what your mindset already was going into this offseason. Player to help them a lot of the speculation on Kyrie Irving probably include there could be a potential window to him returning to make a LeBron side in LA. And then if he's going to be very, very strong at Stephen A. Smith saying that his family member says of Kevin Durant goes to the Knicks, potentially the most alluring asset that they have is that 2021 Miami fans that's completely unprotected, reacting a little harshly, saying the double Kyrie gone immediately. And how do you see both pooling together? One, the Nat draft lottery offseason playing out. I think that in compared to two is enticing. How would you prefer it? I don't think it has an it piece. You know what I mean? I think you can sell yourself on Barrett being. I'm lower than him on him than the consensus is, but you can kind of sell your fan base on him being this is a good return along with all these other
I think a
considering
plugged into
assets
Kyrie
paired
now.
with him
Marcus
to get
Morris
in return for 1 year of Anthony Davis. This makes
Horford
sense.
and Gordon
What
Hayward.
would make me nervous about dealing
those guys are plugged in. They'll play well together. The other guys, they didn't mix.
And yes, we
I
saw
know
some
Brown
awesome
might be
games,
an exception to
specifically
that.
in the playoffs
He came
from
along
both
really
Shea
well.
and
Maybe
Shamet.
he's okay, but
I just
certainly
don't
I
think
think
it would
Tatum
be
and
enough
Rozier have got
in
to
terms
go.
of saying
The
this
other
is what we
way
got
is,
for Anthony
and I would
Davis.
prefer
That's why I
as
think
a
that would be the
long-time
third
Celtic
this is the
diehard,
third most
I want
likely
to see a
deal
return to
for the Pelicans.
the pride of the Celtics and watching a team that I feel like watching.
Lou
I
Will
would
could be
prefer
on the
that
trade
Kyrie
block
goes
for
because I
$8
didn't
million.
like that
He could be
play.
on the deal.
And we'll talk more about other teams. I'm seeing the same thing in Golden State right now. I love how Golden State's playing right now. I think it's beautiful basketball, and that's without KD.
Your identity
I don't
is
think a
tied.
team's that bad without Kyrie.
Yeah, well,
And build from
Gallinari
there.
is more
Go
sort
out
of
and
max
find other
contract.
guys.
You can do it. You can do it without Gallinari if you did. Lou Will, Montrezl Harrell, Shea, and Shamet, but then you would need to include like Jerome Robinson just to make the salaries match. So if you got those 5 guys, and then you got like Philly's first-round pick that they got with the Shamet deal as well. I think that's a 2020 pick that's lottery protected. And in addition to that Miami pick, maybe that's more enticing than the Knicks deal, but I still think I lean the Knicks purely because of how Gordon Hayward looks. Right now,
Yeah, they got Anthony Davis, and they got potential of Kawhi Leonard
or so. So that leads to
workouts. I don't know whether they're going to have
the team that I think is best positioned
what you're hearing
to land.
I think
Anthony Davis.
We're hearing,
and I don't know whether they're going to go that route or not.
All year long,
I think
we're hearing that he was explosive.
They have the best case,
practices, and it just didn't show
it's
out
the
in
Boston
games.
Celtics.
This is obviously something
I
that's
think
going to
that
be very,
their
very
pick
hard to draw
package
from
is
and get concrete information out of.
To start.
If there is
with
some type of
Tatum,
inclination towards
Smart,
Gordon returning to
probably
some level that
Yabu
he showed
and
at the end of the
Bo
regular
to make
season,
the
he showed in the
salaries
beginning of
work.
the Indiana
14th pick
series,
and the
and
Grizzlies
we get
pick.
some
And that's where it's
inclination
gonna
that
start.
Gordon is
And
more
I-
likely to be
and
returning. I think
that
that
$12
means
million
that
a year
more likely
has
to
to
lean
include
the
him.
Kyrie
It's a piece
path,
that
more likely
that
to be
that
leaning
Griffin
towards
and
shipping
so
off
the
the young
Pelicans
guys in exchange for if it's
They
not
need to free-
Anthony
the Celtics
Davis,
need
then
to
maybe
free
it would
that
be Bradley.
They
Beal.
don't need to free
And
that.
I
They
think
need
that
to put it into
we're
to match
going
the
to
contract.
Jaylen
That
Brown before
direction
we trade
isn't
Almost
as
Smart.
I definitely
bleak
would not do that.
and isn't as dismal.
But
if we have
in
Gordon
what
Hayward,
I'm
they wouldn't
saying,
be.
if Kyrie, I mean,
we're going the
I
Kyrie
trade Marcus
path,
Smart either.
and the
but
Kyrie
I just
path
think that
is
that's
also the
what's
Anthony
most likely to
Davis
happen.
path.
I think that
And the
offer
Anthony Davis
there
pass,
without Jaylen Brown. I think that offer
leads
beats
into
the
us
other
losing
offers
all
from
of
these
our
other
young
teams.
assets
I think with
and all of our
outside
draft
Tatum,
picks.
Really only
that's
two.
talking about the
and
culture that Marcus
Well,
Smart brings.
Brown and Tatum.
Yeah, but that's
defender in
is
the
that
entire
not
league.
scary?
And then
if
if
the
Gordon Hayward
14th
is
pick
not
in this season,
the Gordon Hayward that he is
and
before,
that
I hear
Grizzlies
you.
pick
I'm-
being,
I
would say,
I'm,
other than
committed
this
to Gordon
number
Hayward.
3.
If Gordon's back, that's exciting. Like, I'm in on that. I'm in on that. If
What
Gordon is
I
back,
believe
that
is
Grizzlies pick
I
is the
think
second most
Gordon Hayward
valuable
is
pick asset.
he's a
that
stand-up
any of
guy.
these teams
I
have.
like
Grizzlies
when
are
I
gonna be
hear
terrible
him.
for the
I
next
think
3 seasons.
when I
unless
saw
something
when
dramatic
Kyrie
happens
when
in terms
Kyrie
of free
flipped out
agency,
on that
which we all
out of
know
bounds
is
play that didn't
unlikely for
happen,
Memphis
and he
to
went
land.
right at Gordon Hayward, and
This
Gordon
pick
Hayward
is
hit it,
top 6
handled that
protected
with
next year,
poise,
which
class.
they're
Never
probably
even
gonna be a
you didn't
bottom
see him
6
ruffle.
team, so
What
we're
I'm
probably
hearing
gonna
from
get that pick
Hayward
again.
that I think
And
is
then the year
absolutely
after that,
real
it's
is that he is
So that pick
totally
is
committed.
way more valuable
And that
than
he
Miami,
right
who's a
now
much
is
more
used-
coherent
he's got an
franchise
offseason
than
right now that
Memphis
isn't like
Grizzlies.
last year's
I would want
offseason.
that pick
He's
real
got
bad.
no
Yes.
setbacks here going forward. He
What
doesn't have
is
to
the
wait.
timeline
He's
on
already
July
preparing for
for
next
the,
year. And there's
yes,
always
exactly.
going to be a better
Flowers
Gordon
time.
Hayward next
I'm
year. How
sitting
good
there with
that is,
Kyrie,
I don't know, but it's good enough
and
for me
you need
that he's
to
going to
get
take a
him
step forward. I'm
signed
guaranteed you
on
that he's going to
July
take a
first,
step
and
forward.
I am aligning with
There's
you
so
100%.
many,
I'm hearing similar
moving
things.
parts
I think
here.
why it
I
happens
do
think it
draft.
is more
I think
likely
it happens at the
that
draft.
they lead to a path
So you
that
got
ends
Kyrie
up
already signed?
them
they're
leaning
drafting
towards
before free
Kyrie.
agency.
Kyrie's I think that Kyrie's going to come back.
Make the play
not
for
because
Anthony
I
Davis
have
before they know
some
what Kyrie's gonna
biased
do,
belief
and they're
that
gonna
he
let
wants to be here
Kyrie
most.
make
I
his
just think
mind
that
up on whether he wants
is
to
going to
join
have the
them.
inclination that
And
the
your
Celtics are the
thinking
best
is
place
that
for
I'm
him,
gonna
not
get
only
Kyrie in this
monetarily, even though he
scenario?
probably isn't motivated by I think money. that Kyrie's
That's a
not,
pretty
and
big
not only
gamble.
by
Yeah, I think-
winning
I think Danny's
the
willing to
stakes,
still
even
go
though
with
he clearly
Durant
isn't
to
motivated
New
by
York.
winning
I
either.
think
by him
Kyrie's
leaving
willing to make the
LeBron's side in
gamble.
Cleveland.
I
But I think that
So you
Danny's
don't think
willing
you
to
don't
do
really
it.
leave LeBron side though. LeBron was already gone.
Everybody,
That's why he left. I agree.
I know what you mean, but in terms of like,
I think
like
it's more likely that
if you're most dedicated to win, he would have stayed in Cleveland. They had the higher chance of winning than the brunt of the Boston Celtics happening is around the draft because of
I like
circulation
Marcus
of these
Morris a
other
lot.
picks
I
and
like
these
him
other
better
assets that are
now
in
than I did
flux.
before. Continue with this way.
I
think
From
maybe you
Anthony
saw some things that
Davis,
were pretty
is
good
Anthony
there for him.
Davis-
Yeah, I mean, he's
I
hot and
like him
cold.
as a teammate. I like him as a worker. I like him what he
Celtics if
brings.
there's no
He can
Kyrie?
play
It
off the
doesn't matter
bench. He can play
because
as a
of,
starter.
how
He's
much is he
traded
gonna
and he
cost?
now is
I
yours
think he's
for a
going to
year,
cost
and you're
14
going
to
to
60
you're going to work that
I
out.
think that Anthony Davis's
We're
mind
gonna
would get
let
made
Anthony
up
Davis
as the year
because
went on.
we're going to
Right on
Kyrie.
the pile.
Help us get Kyrie.
Help us get Kyrie. Kyrie. That's what you
10,
tell
12,
me
you got him.
Anthony Davis after you trade for him.
14, 16, gamble,
that's a tough
but Danny
call.
Ainge is a gambler.
And then I think that if it comes to it, the Celtics can include Jaylen Brown. Terry is at that point, it's not close in terms of what number would you be comfortable if we did go the route where Kyrie decides to leave, both Jaylen Brown we keep the young players, and that he gets a contract offer, an offer sheet from the Orlando Magic for $19 million? Are you going to match that?
No, because
what's your number for Terry
I
Rozier?
don't think the Brown and the Grizzlies pick. That gets the deal done.
Yeah,
I don't think you can pay Kyrie.
I mean, it's a deal that's worth it.
I'm
13. 13 is where he needs to get to 13 years line. Okay,
really? Unless he's going to settle for no more than Marcus Smart. That would not play well.
How many of our first-round picks do we select?
You want to talk about
three
Golden State?
first-round picks?
I would say I think Golden State is
Golden trading all three. Took a 3-0 series lead on Saturday night.
To move him. There's nothing
All
there.
right, let's start talking about the New
obviously
Orleans
been
Pelicans.
absent for
Obviously,
all three
with
games.
the new
This
home
team is
for the
playing
Zion
back to the
Williamson
2015
Duke
ball,
star,
where it's equal opportunity
This team has been moving.
They got David Griffin in as a very accomplished front office executive of isolation good luck tie to the lottery.
That he used
playoff
for-
lottery.
who
Gave
used
us
it for
some
LeBron?
entry. Yeah, he got the first
other
play.
two
He was
first
there when
round
LeBron was
staff have
drafted.
been phenomenal.
Well, not when
depending on
LeBron
what
was
game
drafted.
it is or
When
what half
LeBron
it is.
was there, when they got the Anthony
Draymond
Bennett
Green
pick and the
offensively
pick,
Anthony
played his
Bennett.
best
Well,
basketball of his career.
getting the number one pick is the
Specifically in
exciting
the
thing.
second
Picking
half,
his
his
ability
ability
to
to
start
start
transition
so
when there
since
wasn't a
he's
fast break
come on,
opportunity, has really shown off the page.
they've
He's played
coached
really well. He's always
a
making
lot
the
of
right
the
decision.
medical staff from
has a
Phoenix
lot to
Suns,
do
which
with
is
the spacing
highly
that
regarded
Clay
as one of the
and Steph
better
provide,
medical
trailing
staffs
him
in
on
the
that
league,
fast
which
break
is
and
a
the terror that
huge
puts in the
move
Portland
for the
defense for them to
New
really
Orleans
warp
team
their
because
defense
formerly
and
they were
open
using
up
the
the lane for
same
Draymond to
athletic and medical
penetrate
staff as the
and
Saints,
make
which is kind of a
possible.
crack in a scene himself.
They also
But he's
have
doing a
now
really, really
made
good job at what the defense
hires
is giving him
in
and
their
capitalizing on that.
assistant general
I've been impressed
manager
with him
mode.
offensively.
They decided GM, general manager.
Yeah, the general manager. The name is
Langdon. Trajan Langdon. He's a good name, and he's a really.
What I'm seeing more.
I think he's a real good choice. I mean, he was with the Nets. He helped build the Nets.
The Warriors are doing.
He played at Duke. He's from Alaska. He's really a good, really good personality. He played a lot in Europe. Only a little bit in the NBA. He's always been a cerebral type approach to the game.
Nuclear hot for one half, and then is completely absent and turnover prone in another half.
They're doing even more things.
used to
The
try
Pelicans
Myers
just put in
Leonard-
place.
Myers
Yeah,
Leonard,
Myers
and
Leonard
for-
matters.
for-
Myers
for
Leonard
Anthony
matters in
just
terms
not
of their
getting-
facilities.
This team
So
isn't
everything
a
is really
top,
turning
for
the right
Western
way
Conference
for
team,
this Pelicans
and it's bearing
franchise.
out that way. And
moving
yes,
forward,
the
they're
Warriors
looking
are playing strong basketball. They're
brighter and
excitable
brighter in
basketball.
terms of how
They're
their
playing
future is
basketball
going to pan
that
out.
viewers
Obviously,
like.
they have
This
Zion.
they
They
have
have
Drew
Drew
Holiday
getting
for
some of the
long
highest
term.
viewership
I bet that
Randall,
if he doesn't take his player option to come back,
very
I wouldn't be
surprising.
surprised if they
But I
brought him
think it
back
is
on a
because of that
longer-term
style
deal.
that the Warriors
And
are
then
returning
they
to.
have a
best
strong
basketball
likelihood
that
of being able to
can envision.
move Anthony Davis
I love this
for a
team.
whole
Great to watch.
slew
And when you're looking
awesome
at
young
Draymond Green,
pick pieces. I think we can bleed this into a discussion about what Anthony Davis, the best packages for Anthony Davis have, because I think that's what makes this Pelicans future so enthralling, because not only is this team
not as good without
have
KD, but
out of nowhere
good.
a coherent and more exciting front office. Now they're starting to reflect it into their operations in terms of their what their outlook is going to be
because we've been at odds with
in
him for
terms of
so
their
long.
court, in terms of their arena. I'm sure that ticket sales are probably they're blossoming, and they're only on the cusp of their turning around in terms of being an excitable franchise. I think
he's channeling it better. He's not being as childish.
He's not talking to the refs the same way. He's not being as childish. He's being more mature. That's the way to say it.
There's 4 teams.
I thought it was with the mic
they're
on.
going to be the leading.
Yesterday was really good.
Yeah, leading in terms of battling, in terms of bidding up one another for who it is. And yes, of course, there could be an Indiana to OKC's Paul George that pops out of nowhere in this situation, but I kind of doubt that. So the teams are the Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, and then the Clippers.
And played exceptionally well.
Every single one of these teams has a strong package.
Everything that's going
and
on out there.
when you
I'm
look
really
at
enjoying watching him play.
what the offers will be and how
the
each
rebounding,
team
the
was
pushing
going
of
to
the pace,
compare,
the
I
defense,
think that
the
I would rank
playmaking,
them
the running the fast break for a guy. I don't know if there's a big
Lakers
out there since
fourth,
Magic Johnson
not because
that
they
actually
have
run the
the
break
worst offer in
as
terms of
efficiently as he
assets,
runs a bit.
but I think that they're
LeBron,
the least
obviously,
likely to make the
many
trade
guys like that.
because
I am
of the
enjoying that
history
play.
in
And
this past season of them trying to derail the Pelicans
during crunch
season.
time.
I think that Gail
So
Benson
during
was
crunch
really
time,
thrown
this
off and
core,
pretty much probably
and you
offended
put Steph
on
and
how that
Clay
negotiation
it's
went.
like the Lakers
Yes,
right now.
Lakers. We've heard recent days. I mean, it's been debuted by Gail Benson herself, but it's in her better interest to debut it. But she said that I just think that she wouldn't trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers over her dead body. Everyone's predicting maybe they'll get one game. And I feel like I trust because I obviously you can't say this is 100% true. We're not trading Anthony Davis to the Lakers. Probably going to get then that takes out a trade partner that will up the ante for the other teams in the deal. So I have them fourth because I just don't think that he's going there.
Well, let me take one at a time with that one.
Lakers.
What's
the Lakers' best
I think
Portland is a cupcake. But what you're
No,
dealing
with
one
one
from
caveat, and it's a
transitioning
major
to
caveat.
Indiana to Milwaukee, or
If I
from
was New
Detroit
Orleans, I'd make
to
that deal
Boston.
tomorrow.
And
I would trade for Ball, Kuzma,
in terms of
Ingram,
play,
and
I think
the
that
number 4
Milwaukee,
pick.
if they
That I
do
want to
end up
get
getting by
started.
Toronto,
I
we don't
want
have enough
players.
time
I'm
to talk
looking.
about that series,
I'm
but
looking
that's
to develop
okay.
and know what
If
my
they do
team
get
is
by
going
Toronto,
forward.
which
The
I see that
caveat is,
happening,
and that's a
I
big
think
one
that-
that
I think
stops me
that they
from doing
have
it, is the health of
an
Ingram
ability
and
to
Ball.
punch
And so
the
that
Warriors
I'm
in the
not
mouth,
taking a chance with that.
specifically because
I would
Durant will
prefer
probably
to
be
go
back
somewhere
game
else.
one, and they'll be
It's too
returning
bad
back
that's the
to that isolation
situation.
style,
But
away
Ingram's
from that
damaged goods
beautiful
at this
flowing
point,
style.
and
I
Lonzo
could see
Ball is
that
injury prone, shoots 45% from
grading
the free throw line, but I
unusually
probably
with the
could
chemistry
handle
that
that.
these guys have.
I
It's
think
not
Kuzma's
that
a
it
real
could
good player.
work,
I don't care
but I
about
think that
Hart that
if
much.
Milwaukee
And then
comes
with the
out
number
big
4,
and has a big
I
game
would
in
do
game
that
one,
except
I
for
think
that. So I'm not
series can
doing
go
it.
the
I'm not
distance,
doing
and
I
we
agree with
can
you
really see
100%.
them
I think that
tested
there's a
like
lot
they
of
haven't been tested
That's a
since
wonderful
Brooks.
matchup. It's what we've been
specifically
asking for.
Brandon
Somebody
Ingram,
to
but less
rise
so
over
with
and
still
Cleveland's
with
gonna
Lonzo
do
Ball,
it.
as you
And
said.
that's the one I want to see.
What's
I wanna
interesting
see
with them,
Milwaukee and Golden
in comparison
State.
to the
I
other
think-
three
I think
teams in this
I'd like to see-
negotiation, closing
Steve
statement, they would
Kerr's
have to
been
do more
awesome.
gymnastics in
And
terms
and
of
what he's
pairing
doing with that
salaries to
bench
make
and
it
how
work.
those role
You need to
players
have
are coming
80%
in, and what
of
is
the
it?
incoming
Looney's
salaries
great.
to
Going
match
small ball
that
with
deal.
Bell. I mean, my God,
The Lakers
that
have
was-
LeBron
you know,
on
he's
contract,
really
and
adjusted
then they
to
have
what-
those 4 young
everything he's
guys,
doing
and that's
off the
legitimately
bench
it.
is
They have a
turning
couple
into
young
goals
people,
as he's coming
but
in
a
there.
lot of their contracts are
You know,
up.
Looney, yeah,
So
has been
they would
great.
basically
we have
need
them
to
tonight, game 4. Do they close it out? I don't even know.
I think
they would need to
Portland
trade
wins
all
one
4
and
of
they
them, and I
close it out
still
in
don't think it would be
Golden
enough
State
to
in the
match
fifth
the
game. I think Portland wins.
salary
I
there.
think they got their
So
tail
I don't
between
know
their
if they
legs.
could trade. I think that
I
they
think
could
part
do
of
some
it,
type
you
of
know, we can't make excuses for Lillard,
exception
because I think
that he would get
defensively
re-signed
on
in the
Golden State
Pelicans
with
right
the
away.
double
It's-
teaming
I
and
think that they would have to
trapping
do,
him
not only is
is
it
smothering
unlikely to
him.
happen
They did a
because
great
of the
job
background,
on it.
because of
I
injury
think
concerns,
that
but
they're
I
like
also think it's
to
unlikely
close
to
it
happen
out. It'll
for
be
cap
really
reasons.
interesting to
I really
see
don't
which-
think that
And
they
that-
stink
and
if
Griffin's smart.
Right, I don't think
I
there's
don't
enough.
I don't think
Close
Griffin's
it out in
making that
5.
mistake.
So then
And
moving
they close it
forward,
out
I
tonight.
think
We got
that
like 8
the
days of no basketball
number
before the final
3
starts.
Really?
offer is
We'll
paired
see.
with
But,
the number 2 offer.
enjoy
I think
the
that both
basketball we have
Clippers and
ahead.
the
Go
Knicks
Bruins.
have the
Get
second and
that,
third
cup.
best deal.
It's been
I
105
think that the
days
Knicks
since
is
the last
probably a little bit
Boston
stronger
championship.
because
Boston's
of their
really struggling
ability to
here.
include
We need to
3,
bring it
which
back.
is RJ Barrett, who's a
Thanks
great
for joining us
friend.
on My Wheelhouse.
Some
Until
say
next
best friend
time,
of Zion Williamson. I think that's probably what Zion would like the New Orleans Pelicans to lean towards. And then they could get the complete poo-poo platter of all their young players. They can have Ntilikina, who's at a garbage price low. I mean, he would be the least relevant player in the deal.
Right.
They could get Dennis Smith,
Might
who's
take him.
well, yeah, might as well. Get Kevin Knox, who had a miserable rookie season,
Yeah.
but his price is low. Of course, Mitchell Robinson is
That's the
the
one.
most alluring prospect on the team.
I like Trier.
And then Trier. I mean, Moutier. They would need to take probably 4 or 5 of those guys. They're all around $4 million in terms of their contract. So if you got 5 of them or so, then you could match the deal. It wouldn't be a problem for the Pelicans because they have plenty of roster space to take in a 4-for-1 if it is that type of deal. And then not only can they give them the number 3 pick in this year's draft, but maybe they can ship over one of those Dallas picks that they just got in the Porzingis deal, either the one from 2021 or the one from 2023. So I think the Knicks package is a little bit better than the Clippers package because there's more potential at hitting on one of these assets. There's
mean,
more
unless-
assets to be had, and I think that Barrett, out of all the assets that both the
Yeah.
Clippers and the Knicks have, I think that Barrett probably has the highest upside.
So I think the problem I see with the Knicks is that I don't think Mitchell is ready, and I think he's being pretty much overrated right now. I think he's good. I think he's got a real good potential as a player, but you're not moving him into your starting lineup.
No, he would be off the bench.
So that
be a
to
bench
me,
player.
and he's the major guy. He's the
No, Barrett's the major guy.
No. Okay. I mean, other than the
You know
pick.
what I mean?
Other
Like-
than the pick. Yes. You're right. But Barrett hasn't ever played a game in the NBA. But I'm talking about players that are there. Maybe Smith Jr. I mean, Trier would be my 3rd pick. I don't know whether I want Knox. I didn't like.
Knox was
really,
terrible last year.
So I'm not really looking. So I don't think there's enough there
Well,
to
think
get that
about
done.
it. The mindset there is that we get Barrett. We're going to
Yeah.
really we're going to impede and
True.
really excite Zion and his relationship and partnership with,
not a good
with the
team.
Pelicans is going to be even stronger. And then you're saying we're getting bargain cheap prices on all of these formerly highly recruited and highly touted draft assets.
Why
and the
would
only
you
one
trade Anthony Davis for Barrett?
you would trade Anthony Davis for 7 guys, and you're gonna get cap relief.
I guess.
And it's
Okay.
It's not the best package. It's not the best package. I'm saying
if I'm Griffin, I want to make this team viable.
So would you rather trade?
I'm looking to support.
So now we can shift to the Clippers deal, which the Clippers deal for cap purposes would probably include Danilo Gallinari, which would be an interesting player to help them win more immediately. And then it would probably include definitely Shea and Landry Shamet, who make a combined around $6 million. And then if they wanted, they could probably get Montrezl Harrell as well. And then again, potentially the most alluring asset that they have is that 2021 Miami first that's completely unprotected. That could be the first year of the double
draft of the high school and NCAA prospect both pooling together in that draft lottery. So I think that this package is enticing, but I don't think it has an it piece. You know what I mean? I think you can sell yourself on Barrett being, even if I'm lower than him on him than the consensus is, but you can kind of sell your fan base on him being, this is a good return along with all these other considerable assets paired with him to get in return for 1 year of Anthony Davis. This makes sense. What would make me nervous about dealing to the Clippers is, sure, that's a good package, and yes, we saw some awesome games, specifically in the playoffs from both Shea and Shamet. I just don't think it would be enough in terms of saying, this is what we got for Anthony Davis. That's why I think that would be this is my third most likely deal for the Pelicans to do.
I'd be interested in Harrell or Lou Williams, but I wouldn't be interested in the other
Lou
guys.
Will could be on the trade block for $8 million. He could be on the deal.
You know, I wouldn't. He'd be taking a chance on Shamet. We don't know yet. And he'd be a nice. I mean, if you had Williams and Harrell, and now he's started putting Shamet, and I'm not really interested in Gallinari.
Yeah, well, Gallinari was more sort of match contracts. And you could do it. You could do it without Gallinari if you did. Lou Will, Montrezl Harrell, Shea, and Shamet, but then you would need to include like Jerome Robinson just to make the salaries match. So if you got those 5 guys, and then you got like Philly's first-round pick that they got with the Shamet deal as well. I think that's a 2020 pick that's lottery protected. In addition to that Miami pick, maybe that's more enticing than the Knicks deal, but I still think I lean the Knicks purely because
it's an interesting deal for the Clips because what are they left with?
Yeah, they got Anthony Davis and they got potential of Kawhi Leonard. So that leads to the team that I think is best positioned to land Anthony Davis, and I don't know whether they're going to go that route or not, but I think that they have the best case, and it's the Boston Celtics. And I think that their their trade package is going to start with Tatum, Smart, probably Yabu and Bo to make the salaries work. The 14th pick and the Grizzlies pick, and that's where it's going to start. And I think
Smart?
And because he makes $12 million a year, he has to include him. It's a piece that that Griffin and the Pelicans.
The Celtics need to free that money.
They don't need to free that. They need to put it into there to match the
contract.
contract.
I would trade Jaylen Brown before I would trade almost Smart.
I definitely would not do that.
Okay, I would. I would.
But
He's your heart and soul.
And it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be.
It
wouldn't be enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to trade Marcus Smart either. But I just think that's what's most likely to happen. I think that offer there without Jaylen Brown, I think that offer beats the other offers from these other teams. I think with the upside of Tatum, what you're talking about, the culture that Marcus Smart brings, a top 3 defender in the entire league, and then the 14th pick in this season, and then that Grizzlies pick being, I would say, other than this number 3 pick in this draft that the New York Knicks have, out of all these 4 teams, that Grizzlies pick is the second most valuable pick asset that any of these teams have. The Grizzlies are going to be terrible for the next 3 seasons unless something dramatic happens in terms of free agency, which we all know is unlikely for Memphis to land. This pick is top 6 protected next year, which they're probably going to be a bottom 6 team, so they're probably going to get that pick again. And then the year after that, it's unprotected. So that pick is way more valuable than Miami, who is a much more coherent franchise than the Memphis Grizzlies. I would want that pick real bad.
Paint me this picture.
Yes.
What is the timeline on July 1st? See where they moved the negotiation back a couple hours.
6 hours.
Are you sitting there with Kyrie? And you need to get him signed on July the 1st, and there's so many moving parts here.
I think the trade happens draft. I think it happens at the draft.
So you got Kyrie already signed?
No, the draft is before free agency.
They're gonna make the play for Anthony Davis before they know what Kyrie's gonna do, and they're gonna let Kyrie make his mind up on whether he wants to join them. And your thinking is that I'm gonna get Kyrie in this scenario?
Yep. I think that Kyrie's...
That's a pretty big gamble.
Yeah, I think Danny's...
Because he could still go with Durant to New York.
I think Kyrie's willing to make the gamble.
You don't think they're going to wait until they deal with Kyrie first? Everybody's thinking they're going to wait to see where Kyrie goes.
No, I think it's just more likely that they make the move when the picks are most valuable, when the brunt of the discussion is going to be happening is around the draft because of the circulation of these other picks and these other assets that are in flux.
So continue it this way.
Yeah.
From Anthony Davis's, is Anthony Davis, how's he feel about coming to the Celtics if there's no Kyrie? It doesn't matter because he's traded and he now is yours for a year, and you're gonna work that out.
I think that Anthony Davis's mind would get made up as the year went on.
So we're going for Kyrie. Right. Help us get Kyrie.
Help us get Kyrie. That's what you tell Anthony Davis after you trade for him.
It's a gamble, but Danny Ainge is a gambler.
And then I think that if it comes to it, the Celtics can include Jaylen Brown, and then at that point, it's not close in terms of the offer that they're giving in comparison to the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Knicks. And if the Celtics decide to offer both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and that pick selection,
you'll never pull Smart back if you offer him. You're not going to pull him back. So I offer Brown from the beginning.
Oh,
I offer him right from the
Jaylen Brown
beginning.
as
Tatum
an
and
upside.
Brown and the Grizzlies pick for Anthony. If that gets the deal done. Why not?
Okay. No, I mean, it's a deal that's worth it.
I want to keep Smart.
I'm saying that I don't know if it needs to get to that point.
Really?
We can get to. Let's talk it out with which series you want to talk about for 5 minutes. Milwaukee, Toronto, way more exciting.
I like Golden State.
You want to talk about Golden State?
I think Golden State is on.
Golden State took a 3-0 series lead on Saturday night. Kevin Durant has obviously been absent for all 3 of these games. This team is playing back to the 2015 ball, where it's equal opportunity offense. The ball is moving. There's not. I think they have like the lowest percentage of isolation plays in the past 3 years in terms of playoffs since KD has left. Clay and Steph have been phenomenal from depending on what game it is or what half it is. Draymond Green offensively has played his best basketball of his career, specifically in this Game 3. His ability to start transition when there wasn't a fast break opportunity has really shown off the page. He's played really, really well. He's always making the right decision. It has a lot to do with the spacing that Clay and Steph provide, trailing him on that fast break, and the terror that puts in the Portland defense for them to really warp their defense and open up the lane for Draymond to penetrate and make kind of a crack and a seam himself. But he's doing a really, really good job at what the defense is giving him and capitalizing on that. I've been impressed with him offensively.
Well, why didn't you include defensively?
I think he's been fine. I think he's been fine defensively. Yeah. And more often, what I'm seeing more prevalent than anything that the Warriors are doing. I think that Portland is just exhausted. These guys are wounded. We see Damian Lillard has a separated rib. I don't even know what that means. Aren't ribs supposed to be separated? And CJ McCollum is nuclear hot for one half and then is completely absent and turnover prone in another half. And
they're reduced to trying Myers Leonard.
Yeah, and Myers Leonard matters. Myers Leonard matters.
Is just not getting anything
this team isn't a top 4 Western Conference team, and it's bearing out that way. And yes, the Warriors are playing strong basketball. They're playing excitable basketball. They're playing basketball that viewers like. This series is getting some of the highest viewership that any of the conference finals have gotten in recent years, which is obviously very, very surprising. But I think it is because of that style that the Warriors are returning to.
It's the best basketball that I can envision. I love this team.
It's great to watch.
And when you're looking at Draymond Green, Steph, Clay, Iggy, and Livingston, that core, that is your dynasty right there.
Yep.
Those guys, I don't care. And a lot of the talk is, they're as good as without. They're not as good without KD, but they're almost as good.
Almost as good, and they're more exciting.
And the style of play is so damn good. I think what I needed to talk to you about a little bit is Draymond. And thanks for talking positively about him, because we've been at odds with him for so long, is that I'm seeing an obvious change in his demeanor on the court. He is much different in terms of not getting his boiling point is much he's not getting upset.
He's channeling it better. He's not being as childish.
He's not talking to the refs the same way. He's not being as childish. He's being more mature, if that's the way to say it.
Absolutely.
I thought it was with the mic on him and everything. And yesterday was really good. Right now I'm looking at 5 players, and I'm saying in this, I'm looking at Kawhi, and I'm looking at Giannis, and I'm looking at Steph, and I'm looking at KD, and I'm looking at Draymond Green, and maybe Jokic as the best players I've watched. Draymond Green has played from the first day of the players to now. He's played exceptionally well. He's got his fingerprint on everything that's going on out there. I'm really enjoying watching him play. I'm being very honest here about this. The rebounding, the pushing, the pace, the defense, the playmaking, running the fast break for a guy. I don't know if there's a big out there since Magic Johnson that I've seen actually run the break as efficiently as he runs a big. Well, LeBron, obviously, I guess there's many guys like that. But I am enjoying that play. And Portland, this all comes to a head during crunch time.
Yeah, they're not enough for the moment.
So during crunch time, this core, and then you put Steph and Clay on top of that.
It's been a good season for Portland. Their season isn't a failure. They made it farther than they're probably going to ever make it with this young core. They obviously need another piece, but they're strong.
Jokic is another piece.
They're strong and capped. I just think that it's obvious what was supposed to happen. Everyone was predicting maybe they'll get one game. And I gave them credit because I disrespected them throughout the playoffs, and I said maybe they'll win 2. I think it wouldn't be surprising at all. They're probably going to get swept.
They might.
And
they might win.
I think that what we're seeing from this Warriors team is not going to be a true sample to be reflected in the next series, because similar to what we saw when you're dealing with, I'm not saying that Portland is a cupcake, but what you're dealing with from transitioning to Indiana to Milwaukee or from Detroit to Boston, those type of step ups in terms of play, I think that Milwaukee, if they do end up getting by Toronto, and we don't have enough time to talk about that series, but that's okay. If they do get by Toronto, which I see that happening,
that's the dream matchup.
I think that they have an ability to punch the Warriors in the mouth, specifically because Durant will probably be back game 1, and they'll be returning back to that isolation style, away from that beautiful flowing style, and I could see that grading unusually with the chemistry that these guys have.
That's
not that it couldn't work, but I think that if Milwaukee comes out big and has a big game in game 1, I think that series could go the distance, and we could really see them tested like they haven't been tested since LeBron.
That's a wonderful matchup, and it's what we've been asking for, is somebody to rise other than Cleveland that's going to do him, and that's the one I want to see. I want to see Milwaukee and Golden State.
I think we're going to get it.
I think, I'd like to...
Closing statement.
Steve Kerr's been awesome,
Okay.
and what he's doing with that bench, and how those role players are coming in, and what he's getting...
Looney's been great.
Going small ball with Bell. I mean, my God, that was... he's adjusted to know everything he's doing off the bench is turning into gold as he's coming in there. Looney has been great.
So we have them tonight, game 4. Do they close it out? Do they sweep them?
I think Portland wins one, and they close it out in Golden State in the 5th game. I think Portland wins.
I think they got their tail between their legs. I think they
part
close
of
it out.
We can't make excuses for Lillard, because I think defensively on Golden State with the double teaming and trapping him is smothered him.
They've played
done a
incredible
great
defense.
job on him.
Yeah, I think that they're likely to close it out. It'll be really interesting to see, which could really stink if Milwaukee closes it out in 5 and they close it out tonight. We got like 8 days of no basketball before the final starts.
Really?
So we'll see. But enjoy the basketball we have ahead. Go Bruins. Get that cup. It's been 105 days since the last Boston championship, so Boston's really struggling here. We need to bring it back. But thanks for joining us on My Wheelhouse. Until next time, adios.
You can't go back and you